Recording in progress.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Art 196, an introduction to designing web graphics for the spring semester 2022. Today, my hope is to finish up lesson 9. The past few lessons or sessions, we've been working with styling tables, and we've gotten pretty far. And started with something that was kind of clunky, which is the default use of tables, and styled something pretty, I think, elegant. The last thing that we want to do today is to make the tables work for a really small screen. And as you can see in the finished version of this, the headers are gone. In their place, over to the left, we have where the tables would have been, or the headers would have been. And then to make it a little bit easier to read, from one section to the next, we're alternating between a light green background and white. Okay, so this is where the media query comes in. And so this is the finished version. Now I'm going to go back to mine, the one that we worked on the other day. When I go down, all the way down, it just shrinks it. And it still works, but I think their version is a nice added touch at the very end. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and style the table, and as I make changes to it, we're going to make sure that it's looking proper, because it's easy with this part to really get goofed up. It really is. So I'm going to scroll down to get something really kind of small here, just underneath the 426 size. Okay. And as I make changes, we will see how the whole thing develops. We're going to go from general to specific. So we need to work with our CSS designer. And the next thing that we need to do is we need to select again green styles, global. Actually not global, we're going to go with maximum width. So we're going with our media query that we created a long time ago with the 426 pixels. So to go from general to specific, we're going to start with a section TD and a section TH, which stands for section data, or table data and table header. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to add that, and it's going to be section TD, and then comma, and then space, section, table header. Okay, so we've got table header, table data, and table header that we're creating here. Well, as I make the changes, let's see what happens here. Now, under width, the only thing that we're under, not width, under the layout here, we just want the display to be block. That's the only thing that we're changing here. Okay. So we've made that change, and you can see already that that things are changing a bit here. Okay. Now let's keep going with it, and this is what it should look like. So I'm in good shape so far. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a selector for the table as a whole. So I'll come in here, and we're going to add a new one. Again, make sure that it's on your media query. And this one is going to be section table. Whoops, can't spell here. Okay, so in this part, we make a few things, make a few additions here. Now the margins we want to be so that it's centered. We want to make sure that on the left and the right that they're auto. Notice how there's a slight adjustment there. Now let's go over here. And so far things are working pretty well. I mean, in the sense that as I make the adjustments, that we're noticing an update in our live view over here. Okay, so I'll make up auto again. There we go. So a little bit of space on either side here. Because on a small screen, you need a little bit of negative space around the rounds, around the outer edges to be able to move your eye through, around and through the table itself. So the next one we're going to add now is another one for section table header. And we're going to add, before we had one that applied to both section table data and section table header. That was a combo. This one is specific to table headers. And what we're doing is that we're taking all of this background and padding and everything, and we're going to remove it. And you're going to see that if we look and we look at the finished one and I resize it, that all of these we want to be shifted to the left. Okay, so that's a little tricky. That's what we're going to do next. So I did that. Now we want to create a new one for a section table header. Make sure that it's spelled right. Table header, TH. And with that selected, now this takes a little bit of work. We want to make sure that under that, we want the height to be 0. So we're removing all the properties that we had before. So we're going to go back and say we want 0. Now that's collapsing. We want the margins to be 0. We want the padding to be 0. I'm just using shorthand here. And we want the font size to be 0. So it's gradually going away, and it will come back in a few short minutes. Okay, so I want under type, we want font size to be, I'll put it just 0. We used percentages before, so we got 0. So you can see it's gradually disappearing. Bagel, I see you. Border, and then borders, we want none. Hold on here. We want it for the whole thing. We want border, hold on here. Border. We want, let me go back here. Well, yeah, I want none. And overflow, I want hidden. So hold on here. This is where I'm getting stuck. That was font size. We want borders. I'm just going to put, should say none here somewhere. I don't see it. Why don't I see it? I want none. Well, then I'm going to do it down here where it says more. I'm going to put border. Come on. Border. And I want none. There we go. So now the borders go away. So that's working. It's working very nicely for us. And then the overflow, let's go back again here. Overflow. What do we have here? Just overflow. We have overflow X and Y. I just want overflow hidden. let's go down to, and I'm going to go back again. I'm just going to do that at the bottom here. I'm going to say overflow. And I want it to be hidden. So if there is any extra, it will not stick out from any of the borders. So the next part gets a little tricky because we want what was in the headers to be over to the left. So this requires quite a bit of work on our part. So what we're going to do, and it requires several selectors for us to make several selectors. And the first one is going to be td.date. And actually what we're going to do, and I want it to be before. Okay. So I have td.date colon before. Oh, come on. I don't know why I put that there. That's not where I wanted it. I want to add it. There we go. So there we go. td.date colon before. Okay. Then, in order to apply this to the content, what we need to do is we're going to say show set, and you see that there's nothing here. So we're going to put content, and we need to do this for all of the sections that we've added here, all the columns. So it gets a little tedious for the next few minutes. So it's going to be content. And then over here, we're going to put in quotes, DATE, semicolon, and then I'm going to put a space and another quote. Okay. So we're going to add that. And let's see if that comes up yet. Yeah, we can see that date is already, well, that hasn't come up yet because we haven't finished it. So let's go to each one, and I have to refer to the book to make sure that I get them all. So the next one is going to be, whoops, I don't want that. Let's go ahead and add a new one. We want it to be TD colon, and I want event before. And we'll do the same thing over here. We're going to put content and then put event. Okay. So did I add that or not? No, I didn't do that. So let's do that again. Let me do it. I thought I had added it. So let's do it again. I'm going to go ahead and add a selector. And I want TD event before. Hit the return key twice. There we go. So now it's working. I don't know. And now I have to put in here content. So for every single column that we had before, for both of the for both of the tables, we have to do that. So this is gonna take a few minutes. So again, I want content. And hold on. Content, and then we want to put in quotes event colon space, and then I want quotes again. There we go. Come on. As I said, this gets a little bit weird. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to put in quotes. Let me do that again. There we go. Content, colon, event. Nope, I messed something up. So I'm going to delete this and do this again. Something got messed up. So again, TD, event, before. And again, notice that I have show set here so that we can do, the only place we can really add it is in more. So again, I put content, hit the tab key, and then we want to put, again, event, whoops, quotes, event, colon, there we go. There we go. By hitting it twice, I goofed up. So now I got to do this again. So again, I'm not going to say much for the next few minutes. I just want to get these done. Because I have to do location, cost, class, description, day, and length. So let's go ahead and add another one. So the next one is location. So I want TD, table data, location, colon, before. Just a lot of repetition at the moment. And the same thing over here. I want to put content. And then I want to put quotes. I want to put location. There we go. Okay, I think I've got, and I'm sure I'm going to mess something up here. We'll see. Now let's go ahead and add another one. So the next one after location is cost. So we want TD, cost, before. And then over here, content. We want cost, that's in quotes. There we go. So you can see it's gradually changing here. And hopefully I'm doing all this right. So after cost, we want class. So TD, class, before. And the same thing, we just keep repeating. So I put in content. And I want quotes, and I want class, colon, space, and then quotes again. Okay. After cost, we want, we did that. We have cost, class. We want description now. So TD, table data, description, before, and again, content, and I put quotes, and I want description. Well, There we go. And after description, we want day. Don't have too many more of these to do. So TD, day, before, content, quotes, day, colon, space, quotes, return. Okie doke. And which is the next one? Last one, length. Table data, length. Before. Notice that when I'm naming the selector, that the length, day, description are all lowercase. But because over here in the content where it's going to be displayed, I actually use the caps the way we had them in the tables themselves. There we go. Okay, so I have all of these done. Notice how it's gradually changing as I make these changes here. So now we want to create this is a huge selector. It includes them all. So we put a comma after each one. So I'm going to go ahead here. Again, to stylize all this takes a bit of work. So I want it to be section, space, dot, date, comma, and then I want it section, space, dot, event. So I'm changing this for the appearance for each of these classes that we had created before. But it's all one selector. It's going to be section, dot, location, and section, dot, space, dot, cost, and section, space, dot, class, then section, oh, come on, space, dot, description, comma, and space again. And we want section, space, dot, length, comma, and then the last one, section, dot, day. Space, dot, day. It's hard for me to see this little bitty type, so it's difficult for me to read it sometimes. So now what we want to do is we're going to put the width in percentages, and we want it to be 100%. Make it 100%. The next thing that we're going to change is padding to the left is going to be 30%. So we come down to padding to the left is going to be in percentages. So we want it to be 30%. Notice how everything just shifted. That's exactly what we want to see. Okay. So we got that. We want position to be relative. So let's come down here to position. Where are we here? It's down here. If I don't see it, then I'll just put it in myself. I'll just put it in myself here, since I'm not seeing it, and I'll put position. Relative. Okay. Next one. Text align left. So let's go back to text. Text align left. Okay. Okie doke. So now we're going to create a new rule for the TD before, the one that we had just created, so that all of our, what we originally had in our table header will be over here to the left. You can't see where I'm pointing over, but it's over here to the left. Okay, so far so good. It's reading pretty nicely. No mistakes that I can see in the moment. So let's go ahead and create a new selector. And I want this one to be TD before. Okay. So now we want the width of this to be 25%. So width, we'll do it in percentages. Want it to be 25%. We want the display to be block. There we go. We want the padding on the right to be 10 pixels. Okay. We want the position to be absolute. So here's position. I'll put it in here. Absolute. We want the top to be 6 pixels. So hold on here. This is going to be, is this padding? Left equals 1M. Hold on here. I think, okay, top, there we go. That's for pixel. That's for position, right? So the top is 6 pixels. So we're going to put it in pixels. Six pixels. And then we want the left to be 1M. We're going to measure it in M's. We want it to be 1. Notice by me already adding this, notice that the date, all of these elements over here to the left that were in the header are now positioned over to the left. So again, for something that initially looked so simple, is taking a lot of work. Okay, so that was 1M. A couple more things now. We're going to go ahead and change the color. So that's the text color, and we want it to be 060. I think that's it. No, that's not it. Let's try this one. Let's try this one. That's it. It's the dark green. And all that color should have changed. We want the font weight to be bold. So we're going to go ahead and add that. It bolds it. You can see every time I make a change that it's changed, that it's updating. And that's what you want to see. If you don't see that, then what is important is that you stop and go back and try to troubleshoot, because if you try to wait until the end, it's going to be a mess. And that, has happened to me many times before. So now we want white space. Where are we here? White space here. We want this to be no wrap. There we go. So one final thing that we have to do in here, and we are done. And this is going to be to create a new rule for table row. And what we want to do is add a border at the bottom. And then what we're going to do is create another one called a section for table row. And we're going to do even and odds. And this is where we're able to switch the colors of the background. Okay, so let's go ahead and again, I'm going to create a new rule for table row. TR for table row. Section table row, sorry, section. Table row. There we go. And what we want here is just a border. So under the border, under the bottom, we want it to be solid, 2 pixels. So style, solid, width, 2 pixels. Notice that it's already adding it. See what we're doing here? It's going to be in pixels. We want it to be 2. And by default, it adds it as black. Okay. And then we want the color to be, what do we want it to be? 060 again. So this one. There we go. There we go. So now we've completely refigured this. And we just have the one last one to do, one last rule, and then we are done. There is spell checking that you can do in here, and that is part of the assignment. I've spent enough time on this, and you can find and replace misspellings, and it does a pretty good job though overall. That's really the last part of the assignment, but I'm going to forego that. I don't think need to cover that with all of you. So the last one that I'm going to do here is again one more new section, and I want it to be section TR for table row. TR, and I want it to be, we've got a colon, and then what I want to do is I'm going to add a space here. And I want it to be nth, hyphen of, hyphen type, and then even, EVEN, and this is in brackets. And now I need to change the background color. So let's look at the background. So every even one in the background color, this should be, let me go ahead and put it in here. D4E, AD4, AD4. There we go. So that's that light green that we may have already used. And once that's done, it should pop up. And let's see. See if that changes. And that didn't change. See, the very last one. So let's make sure that I've written this correctly. So I have section, table row, colon. I may have put, let me rename this. I may have put a space, and I probably shouldn't have had a space. There we go. That was it. It wasn't working again, I was able to look at it. It should have updated automatically. It didn't. I knew something was wrong. I looked in here, and right after, okay, I have section, space, table row, colon. Now, I put a space between the colon and nth. You don't want to put a space there. Watch, I'll do that again. Put a space, hit the return key, and that background, that alternating background goes away. That's not what we want. Okay, so I'll come back again and I'll remove that space. This is the part of web design that really messes me up and kind of frosts me from time to time. Because I am not a good typist. As I get older, my seeing isn't that, my sight isn't that good. And it's easy to make mistakes. It's easy to not, and I don't proofread well either. So, it's pretty frequent that I make these mistakes in and out of class. And then I go back, and as I'm talking to you, I talk to myself and say, okay, what's wrong with this? But really, really nice. You probably don't have to do this, but I think it's a really nice touch to create a media query for our tables. And as I said, I don't know how many of you for your final website are going to use a table. If you decide, for example, to do a website for a soccer team or whatever, and you need to put data in that, maybe you want statistics for the team players, or you want to create what we've done here, a schedule of events, when their next matches are going to be, that sort of thing, and the cost and the location and everything, and the date, then these would be excellent tables to use. So you don't want to change a thing other than maybe the colors and the content, and that's all. So leave the styling alone. We've spent all of this time styling it. We don't need to do anything more with it. Okie doke. That went a little bit quicker than I thought it would today. I was planning on maybe doing some of it ahead of time, preparing it. Because like when we were looking for classes down here, when the computer starts to slow down and get sluggish, as I'm, streaming live, it makes it very difficult. So anyway, because everything just slows down to a snail pace. So now I'm ready to save this. I can go ahead and if I look here, if I have my events, shows that this is saved. But if you look under green styles, a little asterisk, that has not been saved. So that's when you always want to go, when you do save, go to File, Save All. So not only does it save the HTML, it saves the CSS as well. And if there's been any changes to JavaScript or anything else, so that everything is saved and updated. Okay. A bit tedious, but that's it. We've styled our tables. On Thursday, we're going to switch to lesson 10, which covers images, and we've already covered a large part of that. So that will probably be another short lesson for us. We'll see. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Do you have any questions before we leave? Yes? No? Anybody there? Okay, well then that's it. If we're all good, then I'm going to say goodbye, and I'll have this posted within the hour. So I'll say goodbye. I'm going to pause the recording, and I'll see everybody on Thursday. Yes, I can do that. On Thursday, we will go over the Dreamweaver website on Thursday. I can begin now a little bit since we have some time. What I want you to do with your Dreamweaver website is take, when you complete lesson 11, so I would work on the lessons right now before you start the website to get lesson 11 completed. When lesson 11 is completed, I want you to copy that root folder. Rename it as your own root folder, and then you can go in and link and create a new site with the name, you know, that you give it for your for this class. And then what I want you to do is to use the various techniques and styles that we've developed. I would not change any style at all except for color. The other style that you may want to change is the header. And you're probably not going to have as many links as that we have here, so you're going to want to remove some of them. And again, but just change the color of the links, the background. For the header, you're going to probably change an image for that. You're going to change the type, the background color, and then you're going to, for however many pages that you need. Ideally, it would be nice if you used 4 pages. And what you'll do is that you'll replace the content that we've created in class with your own. So that means images, that means text. And again, based on the previous websites that we've done, it's the same thing. You're going to have an about page. You're going to have a portfolio page. And I will show you in lesson, maybe I'll do that starting this week instead. I got to think about it, or next Tuesday. I'm going to show you guys how to create. It's made by the same people that make MobiRise, but it's a wow slider, so that would be a good way to display your portfolio. But then you'll need a contact page, and I can show you how you can copy my contact page and paste it and put in the correct content. Again, it's a lot of cut and paste and changing colors, but not changing the structure of the pages that much. If you don't need to use 3 columns, then I can show you how to change that. Anyway, it's taking the files that we have created in our lessons and using them as templates. And I think it will work well for you if you do that. If you try to deviate from it too much, it will be a bit much at this stage. Okay, and I'll repeat this again on Thursday. Okay. Is that okay, Paula? Okay. So that's it. I'll see you guys Thursday. Bye-bye. You too.